Hello students. Today we are going to begin with the sixth chapter of our supplementary reader, The Making of a Scientist. In this chapter, we are going to study about Richard Ebright. Richard Ebright has received the Searle Scholar Award and the Shearing Low Award for Biochemistry and molecular biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. So we are going to study about his childhood, his studies, his college life, and how his mother helped him a lot, and what kind of an attitude helps you in becoming a scientist. So if you really aim to become a scientist, you can learn a lesson from Richard Ebright. Let us start the chapter. Before we read, it's written, how did a book become a turning point in Richard Ebright's life? How did his mother help him? This second question, which has been given at the beginning of the chapter, appeared in last year's board examination also. So let us begin with the chapter to get the answer to these two questions. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year, you know that Scout is again an organization, an association, and if you are a member of that, then you can receive the Scout of the Year at the age of 22. Excited the scientific world with a new theory. And what is this new theory that the world was excited about? How cells work. So this is obviously an exciting discovery that was made by Richard Ebright. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article. And you know that they have explained this theory, newly discovered theory, in an article. There are various medical journals and articles, etc., in the proceedings of the National Academy of Science. So in one of the articles of the proceedings or meetings of the National Academy of Science, both of them, Richard H. Ebright as well as his college roommate, explained about this theory, about how cells work. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. So normally the college students' work is not published by these. They are only discussing about established scientists, but this is the first time they have mentioned the work of these two students. In sports, that would be like making the big league at the age of 15. Now you know that suppose you play the first game and you hit a century, this is just like that, becoming famous or becoming overnight famous or the beginner's fortune. So it has been compared here with participating in the big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. Now about the home run, something has been given at the page below. A home run is the game of baseball, as you would have known how the ball is thrown and hit with the, it's not exactly a bat, flattened bat or a rectangular one, but it is a cylindrical one. And in the game of baseball is where the batter scores a run after running safely around all bases and back to the home plate without stopping. So a ball hit out of the playing field is also called a home run. So it's making as if we make a 6 in cricket. Getting a paper published at the age of 15 in a scientific journal is here compared to scoring a home run while batting for the first time. Okay, so hitting a home run your first time at bat. For Richard Albright, it was the first in a long string of achievements in science. So he has later achieved many other achievements also, but this may be considered as the first one in the or first bead in the string of achievements in science and other fields. And it all started with butterflies. Now, how such big discoveries and inventions started at just a very small habit of collecting butterflies? An only child. Now we come to the childhood of Richard Albright to know exactly how he became a scientist and what are the factors, what are the habits responsible which were instrumental enough for him to become gradually venture into becoming a scientist. So when he was young, when he was small, he was the only child. Obviously, he had no brothers and sisters. He was the only child. Albright grew up north of Reading. Reading is a place, Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do there. And because he was all alone, he had no company, what to do. And he said, I certainly couldn't play football or baseball because he is just one alone. And so it's not possible for him to play football or even baseball. But there was one thing I could do. And what is that? Take up the habit of collecting things. Some people collect stamps. He also started collecting butterflies. So he did. And did he ever? So he kept on collecting something. What is it? Beginning in kindergarten. And it was as small when he was just in kindergarten. Albright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all his activities. And when he was small also, he collected it ardently with his full desire, and the determination was almost same as today he has when he is moving on to becoming a scientist, and he has become a scientist. So the determination, this quality has always been the same, and it was there in him even though he was just a kid and he was in kindergarten. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. So certain kinds of rocks were collected by him. Fossils, are the remains of dead and decayed organic matter. So that was also collected by him. And he also had a hobby of coin collection. He became an eager astronomer, and he was very eager. He became an eager astronomer also. He wanted to know about everything. So one more quality that we can see here is curiosity, eagerness to do something, and sometimes stargazing all night. Because he was interested in astronomy, he would like to see the stars and the planets, and he would like to gaze at them at night, and all night he used to gaze at them. Okay. From the first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. We have seen determination, we have seen eagerness, we see curiosity, which is driving him ahead continuously along, and he has a bright, inquisitive mind. He also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning. And here we come to know that the success behind his life is coming from his mother. As we can say that there is always a woman behind a man's success, we can find the mother here who always encouraged him and his interest in learning. She took him on trips. Now, this is what came in the examination. What did she do and how did she contribute? So, she took him on trips. If you go, if you see, if you have a hands on experience of looking at something, observing something, collecting something, studying something, these are your basic habits which make you go or move towards becoming a scientist or a researcher. Bought him telescopes. Even for his hobby in astronomy, she bought telescopes, microscopes for his study, because he was collecting butterflies and he was studying them. So microscopes are required for that. Cameras, because whenever you are collecting these butterflies, you need to capture them also. So cameras, mounting materials, whenever a slide is made in the biology lab, then you, with the glycerin and all these stains, etc., mount whatever slide it is. So mounting materials are required to later see the slide under the microscope, and other equipments, and helped him in many other ways. So the mother is very encouraging and supportive, and she buys everything that is required for him and his studies. I was his only companion until he started school. And both of them are all alone and together. His mother said, so mother is the only companion until and unless he started school. After that, I would bring home friends for him. You know, whenever there are these only childs in the house, they crave for friends, and the parents have to bring someone or the other to give them company. But at night, we just did things together. But at night, nobody is there, so mother is giving him company. Richie was my whole life. That means Richard Ebright. After his father died, when Richie was in third grade, and unfortunately his father died, and Richie was the only companion of the mother. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he didn't have anything to do, I found work for him. So, can you see, the mother kept him engaging every day in something or the other, and something very constructive, very creative. Not physical work, but learning things. It's not that at the dining table they were playing something or doing the household chores, but they were learning things. His mother said he liked it and he wanted to learn. So we see that he craved to learn. He had this inner desire to learn and willingness to learn, and learn he did. He earned top grades in schools, and you can see that if somebody is a good learner, he would academically also excel and get and score top grades. On everyday things, he was just like every other kid. Otherwise, he was just a normal kid, his mother said. By the time he was in second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. And now we will gradually see the progress that Ebright makes. He had started collecting butterflies which were found around his hometown. And by the time he got in second grade, he had collected all the 25 species of butterflies. Now we can see this table has been given here. Species, subspecies of butterflies collected in 6 weeks in Reading. Reading again is a place in Pennsylvania. Gossamer winged butterflies. Now you can see certain characteristics of these butterflies given in the tabular form. White hair streak, Acadian hair streak, bronze copper, bog copper, purplish copper, eastern tailed blue, melissa blue, silvery blue. So he has categorized. Then we come to snout butterfly, and then wood nymphs and satyrs, eyed brown, wood nymph, grayling, monarchs. Now monarchs we are going to study in this chapter also. And one more name given here is milkweed. Whites and sulfurs, Olympia, cloudless sulfur, European cabbage, then brush-footed butterflies, variegated fritillary, Harris checker spot, pearl crescent, morning clock, painted lady, buckeye, viceroy, white admiral, red spotted purple, hackberry. So we can find all these variety of species and subspecies of butterflies that he collected in the 6 weeks in this place, Reading, Pennsylvania. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, because I have already collected all the 25 species and subspecies of butterfly available uh, and available around my hometown and in my hometown. So this would be the end of everything if I would have stopped. But then my mother got me a children's book, and the name of this book is called The Travels of Monarch X. Now, this book was also very instrumental in the life of Richard Ebright. That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. Now we can see here that this book, which was given by his mother, got me. That is actually a children's book which told how monarch butterflies migrate. And it is this book particularly dealt with monarch butterflies. We will study two kinds of butterflies in this chapter. One is monarch, migrate to Central America. And how they migrate, they move to Central America, opened the world of science to the eager young collector. Now, to somebody who is very curious and want to study, want to know, even a small step, even a small window can open the door for many opportunities. So you can see what new he started doing. So here from this book he studied monarch butterflies migration to Central America, and this opened the world of science to the eager young scientist. Let us see what did he do later. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations. And you know, there is something given at the end of this book. What was given? Readers were invited to help study butterfly migrations, and even butterfly migrations studies were invited that you also contribute in the study of this of the butterflies. So there was an invitation also given in this book. They were asked to tag butterflies for research. And after reading this, they could actually tag butterflies for research purposes by Dr. Frederick. And this research was actually carried on by Dr. Frederick, and he invited all the readers of this book to contribute in the research, in the study that how butterflies migrate. Okay, and the full name of the researcher is Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of the University of Toronto, Canada. Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to the wings of monarchs. So he got a chance to continue his research. And now he's attaching very light adhesives, means glue is attached and some tag is attached to the wings of the monarch butterflies, so as to study that where it would be found and where it has migrated. So in this way, studies can be carried on. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart, and whosoever got the tag was asked to send it to the researcher, the main researcher, Dr. Frederick. The butterfly collecting season around Reading is the place where Ebright lived, lasts 6 weeks in late summer. And you know that there is a particular season where we can collect butterflies here. And this lasts for 6 weeks, around 1.5 months, especially during the late summers. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. And if you are trying to just move and run after them, you may not be able to catch them. So the next step for Ebright was to raise a flock of butterflies. Instead of running in the fields and catching the butterflies, it is far better and judicious and I would say a brilliant idea to raise and breed the flock of butterflies in your own house. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs, and raise them in his basement through their life cycle. You know, a butterfly has a whole life cycle, the larva, the pupa and all. So you might have already studied about the life cycle of a butterfly, from egg to caterpillar to pupa and then finally to adult butterfly. So the whole life process is going on in the basement of Richard Ebright's house. Then he would tag the butterflies. Then a slight tag was attached to these butterflies' wings and let them go. Now you can fly, and I'll study about your migration. Anybody who finds it would send this tag to Dr. Frederick, and for several years his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. And you can understand, if you want to research on something, it takes a very long time. It takes a lot of dedication and determination and hard work. So we can see that the house or the basement of his house became a place where thousands of monarch butterflies were breeding. They were in different stages of development. Again, there is a table given here. The number and kinds of butterflies collected in 6 weeks. Okay, gossamer winged is around 8. Wood nymphs and satyrs is 2. Then brush-footed 10. Whites and sulfurs 3. Monarch 1. Snout 1 again. So the number of these butterflies which were collected have also been given. You know, whenever you do some kind of research, all kind of tabulation and collection of data and interpretation of data becomes very, very important at the same time. Eventually, I began to lose interest in tagging butterflies. Now, gradually, if you have done something for a very long time, you would like to do something else. It's tedious and there's not much feedback. The problem is that your experiments can only work if people can send you the feedback back when they catch the same butterfly and get the tag and send you the feedback. But but it mostly people are not able to do this. Ebright said, "In all the time I did it," he laughed, "only two butterflies had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 25 miles from where I lived." That means the kind of experiment he was working on could not bear fruitful results. First thing, only two butterflies out of so many he's tagged and sent came back, were recaptured and came back. The tag came back with the information, and the information was also that they were just found 75 miles away only. That means much about the migration also could not be learned from this. So the migration could not be studied properly, and that is why it is not bearing fruitful results. And that is why Ebright decided to lose, was gradually losing on his interest, and he decided to stop it or move on to something else. It would just be something, one door closes, the other opens. So we see that how he is moving on and working dedicatively, and gradually how he would become a scientist. And that has been recorded here in this chapter in the form of the making of a scientist. Please read the chapter and try to understand it. It's a little difficult. You would require reading twice to understand it better.